everyone, welcome to Ampliz presents the Startup Showcase. It's me, Varun Nair, hosting this show, and it's 2020, and we have a lot of new startups from the Web Summit experience from 2019. So this is a Web Summit edition which is going on right now, and it will go on until the Web Summit people realize that, okay, let's put it to an end. So I believe they are not going to stop because last year there was more than 70,000 attendees, including 3,000 startups, and there were like more than 1,000 to 1,500 startup pitching for startups, and a lot of opportunities for startups to explore. And there was an investor cafe, which is one of the biggest. So this Web Summit is one of the biggest event which is hosted in an year, and which was happening in the month of November. So I have been in touch with a lot of founders, founders who really want to share like what's the story behind their startup, how did they start, or what is their experience in starting the startup, what struggles they had along the way. So today we have a very interesting guest, a founder and CEO of the company called LoyaltyLab, which is basically a personalization platform for offline retailers. I really welcome Mr. Alexey to this show, who showed that encouragement, and he was really excited to be part of this podcast to share his part of the story of LoyaltyLab. And it's a very interesting platform which I just wanted to understand more about it. So we are here for a discussion with him to know more about it. And he has his experience, his main core experiences into product general management and marketing. And he's from Russia. So his solution, what he's trying to deliver, is 10 times better than other competitors like SAP and other competitors. So let's hear it from Alexey. Hi, Alexey. Thank you for joining the show. It's really appreciated.
Hi, Varun. It's my pleasure to be part of your show.
Thank you so much. So like last few days back, so we had a conversation about the podcasting show, and then Alexey came and I sent him an email, and he responded immediately. He wanted to know how this is going on. So this is how it simply works. So my simple question for you will be, what is LoyaltyLab, and how did it start off?
So if we're talking about LoyaltyLab, so basically LoyaltyLab is a B2B SaaS platform. So we are working with large enterprise retailers, mainly with brick and mortar retailers, but in some cases we can work with omnichannel retailers. And basically what we give to them is that we help them to anticipate the needs of their customers and provide some kind of a personalized shopping experience. So so basically what we do, we help retailers know their customers better. And after it, we give them a tool which can personalize all the marketing communications which they're making with their clients.
Okay, so basically it helps them it's something similar to an ERP for logistics and other applications?
No, it's more about CRM. So it is something maybe a little bit similar to the CRM system, but much more smarter. So we use not only first page data, just the data about the purchases and so on. We use a lot of additional data, just the data about the about the weather, about the products. So we know all the information about the products, like about some carbohydrates, proteins, who produce this product, and so on. And we know a lot of information about the location of the store. So where is it located? Do they have underground, or maybe some bus stations or something like that? So we use a lot of additional information to make our recommendations for the customers and communication process much more personalized.
Okay, so if you give me an example of a classic example of how did it start off, like for example, if I had a startup, I would explain with an example, like this was a problem which we faced or which we found out, and this is how we solved it. So what kind of an example you want to relate your product to that?
Okay, so now if we're talking about the traditional retailers, they have a big problem because an internet retailers like Amazon and some local players. Like in Russia, it's Yandex with their Yandex Market and some other Asian projects like Alibaba and so on. So they're pushing the traditional retailers, and traditional retailers need to change how they communicate with customers, how they engage them to not to die just. So now most of the retailers have some kind of a loyalty programs and so on, but they're not very efficient because all of the retailers have the same, quite the same loyalty programs. And if you're as a customer, you can go just to this store or you can go to the another. In both, you have some loyalty cards and so on. So actually, you don't really interested, and you don't really like one of them. So you just choose, here the price is better, here the cashier is better, I don't know. So you're just choosing between two of them. And many of the market researchers says that if retailers would provide a personalized experience, most of the customers are ready to switch their regular retailer, so where they regularly doing some purchases, to this retailer, which would provide a personalized shopping experience. And we find it, and so build some algorithms which could help retailers making this personalized marketing to their customers.
Okay, so basically we just removed a part of third party from it, and directly we are connecting with the customers. The retailers are now able to get access to the customers directly instead of going around with the third party retailers and then coming back. Am I right?
Yes. So, but previously they also had an opportunity to make a direct communications to the customers, but the communications were so bad that they don't really engage customers. And we know how to make a direct communications much more productive.
Okay. And what other features are there in LoyaltyLab?
So basically, that is the main feature. So we know when each customer will come. So basically, we have two parts of our product. First one is predictive analytics, and the second part is about recommendations and recommendation engine. So if we're talking about the predictive analytics, we know extremely well at which time and which date each customer will come next time. So we know that this customer will come at Friday, let's say at 7 o'clock, and he would prefer to buy this and this, so some of the products. And according to this information, we make some kind of a personalized offers for him. So basically, we know his future basket, we know when he will come. So according to this information, we can understand when we should communicate with him to make communications more engagement, more effective, and which products are suits the best his future basket. So it's just next level of personalization in offline retail.
That's very interesting when we spoke about predictive analytics, like you personalizing each and every customers based on when they're going to come back again and going to purchase the same product, and giving them very unique experience of offers, which is really important for every customer. So that is something I really loved about it. So basically the target audience for this is retailers across, let's say, Russia. Who's the target audience you are looking for that? What is the demography for your target audience?
You mean about the retailers or just about the customers?
So it's a product based, it's a SaaS based product, right?
Yeah.
So you are currently looking for retailers across Russia or across the globe?
So basically now we are working only with Russian retailers, because it's not so easy for Russian startup to go to the EU. And moreover, if you're just going to the retailer and say, okay, so you need to give me some data about your customers and about their purchases. And just the first answer is, isn't you a Russian hacker? So where did you come from? And so on. But now we have 4 enterprise clients in Russia. 2 are from grocery retail. One is telecom retailer, and the last one is a pharmacy retailer. For this year, basically, we really want to go outside. So actually, we don't have any problems like from the technical side, so we can work with the retailer from everywhere. The only thing is just that the enterprise sales is not as easy as it as it can be.
So basically, you have four enterprise clients right now. So since how long have you started Loyalty Lab?
1 year and a half.
1 year and a half. Okay, that's really good. So now the next plans for Loyalty Lab would be, what is the next 6 months milestones you're looking ahead?
So for the next 6 months, we are going to raise next round. For us, it would be from late seed or round A. So we want to raise from 1 million to 1.5, with evaluation about post-money evaluation about 10 millions. So
Okay.
that is our future investments. And if we are talking about the sales, so we need to finish few pilot projects that we have in Russia. So to acquire a few more clients, and after it, we need to make 1 or 2 clients in the EU. So that is our main plans.
So currently it is an invested back company, right?
So we had an investment previously. We raised about 200K
Okay.
in the next January.
Oh, okay.
In the previous January, yeah.
In the previous January, yeah. So 1 year is down the line, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of things to be done. So what is a customer acquisition strategy do you follow to get more customers?
So when you're working with large companies or enterprise companies, that's always very hard. For me, it was very painful for the first time. Like first I don't know, like a first sex. So it's really painful. And so how we sell, we use direct sales and some networking, let's say, because that is the only thing which works really well. Because if you have somebody who can make an introduction to the another guy, and after it you are making some sales process, it works much better than if you just call that guy or just find him somewhere. So basically for us, maybe that is a Russian problem, but LinkedIn doesn't work at all. So we tried it several times, but just no result. Okay. What we do when we don't know the consumer, just a guy who can make an introduction to customer which we want to acquire. We have a very interesting hack. So we make a hyper targeted advertisement for the guys in the office, which is interesting for us. So we just find on the map where is the location of the office of the company, which is interesting for us, and just investing a lot of money for the digital ads. And everybody in the company start to know about LoyaltyLab, and they're starting to asking guys from the marketing team, "Hi, do you know them? Do you hear any information about them?" So they made a case with our competitor. Maybe we also should talk with them, and that really works. So yeah, interesting process.
That is actually a very something new kind of strategy I have heard about, like targeting the maps and targeting different locations. It's very interesting. So initially just we had a discussion, and like in Russia it's very challenging to to do a startup. So haven't you thought about considering to register the company in any other countries so that it will be much more effective to get investment?
Yeah, so we're doing it, and we will open a company in a new residency. I think that in this quarter. So it's not a very far activity for us. But if you're working just with Russian clients, that is very hard to work from the company outside the Russia. So yeah, that's the reason why we started from the Russia.
Understood. So the main question of this whole Web Summit series. So how was the experience at the Web Summit? for you?
So, yeah, it was very impressive. As for me, it was very interesting. A lot of people, just a crazy atmosphere. But the thing that I get to is that big conferences is not for all, not for everyone. Because if you didn't make any, meetings or schedule any calls, just maybe a couple of weeks before or a month before, this conference would be very effective for you.
Right.
Because if you are trying to meet somebody just on the conference and you are messaging them and so on, nobody will ask you because
Response.
answer you. Yeah, because they're very busy. They all have a very busy schedule, and that's really a big challenge to find someone on the conference who will talk with you. So yeah, advice number one is to make in all the let's say all the introductions just a month before the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that works. And all the side activities. So side activities is as for me, side activities was greater than just the conference.
Basically, networking was really great at the Web Summit experience.
Yeah, so it was interesting, and we find some guys who are interesting for us. So we've met several retailers, which was a surprise for me because I didn't notice that we can find some clients there because it's not a not a retailer conference.
Yes.
And we find several investors, mostly from Russia, but that is a problem of our community. So if you are coming from a country which is not really integrated to the EU, and when you are coming to the Web Summit or another big conferences, the first thing that you've done is just talking with the guys from your country, and yeah, only after it.
That is a great way to put it, so that it will be very easy for you to at least make a partnership or integrate the product. That's wonderful. So just I know this might be very vague, but I would ask everyone, so what was the biggest challenge when you started off Loyalty Lab?
When we just started, I thought that the biggest challenge would just develop what we want to do. But after several months, I came to the idea that the biggest problem is to sell something to the corporate.
Okay.
Moreover, if you don't know anybody inside this corporation,
Yes.
because only after we find a guy which previously worked in the biggest Russian retailer and ask him to be our board member and so on, only after it and after a few interests from his side, we really go to the sales circle with the several retailers. Yeah,
Okay.
because before they just don't want to talk with you. You're nobody for them and for big corporates. So that is the biggest challenge.
Okay, and there was a small part, according to the metrics, it's like 10 times better than the similar solution than SAP, right? It's like SAP. So what makes it really different, and why SAP, and who are the other competitors in this particular industry right now?
So in offline retailers and in personalization platforms for the offline retailers, we don't have a lot of competitors. Most of them are solutions from SAP, SAS, or Oracle, or Microsoft. So most of the solutions are from very big guys, and that is the main problems for them. Because when you are competing with other big companies, you are not very flexible, and you don't use just the latest stuff just in technology.
Yes.
Because basically we have a very good team. Our CTO would go to the GTC conference to the Silicon Valley to present how to build a recommendation engines, just new recommendation engines. So that is basically the main thing why we are much better. And the other thing that we really I'm sorry. we're really saying that predictive analytics is a very important thing, and
Yes.
we invest a lot of money and a lot of time in it. So most of the recommendation engines, they are working with the sales, just let's say in process sales. So while you are scrolling a website or just doing something like that, they are trying to recommend you something just which is similar to what you are looking for.
What you're looking for.
Yeah, and it doesn't work in offline retail because you don't know how did your customer just go before the shelves and so on. So between which products did he make a decision what to buy, and a predictive analysis could help you because you could predict what he will buy, and according to this information making a personalized offer.
Great. So what are the management tools or workflow management tools do you use to keep this work going, and how many members are working in Loyalty Lab right now?
So we have 8 guys in our team.
Okay.
It's just 6 developers and me and one more guy who are, let's say, business developers.
Yes.
And for most of the management stuff and so on, we use Notion. So Notion, actually we use it for everything. Started from the client pipeline to, let's say, tasks for the developers. So for everything.
Okay, great. So for communication, I think you might be using Slack or Trello or anything particular.
Telegram. So
Telegram.
yeah.
Okay. Great. So, and is there anything like any kind of tools you have in mind to want to use it in future? Like I kept to think of, I have shortlisted a few products which I want to use when I'm working towards it. But sometimes, the payment is one big factor. Like, it will be a really huge amount. So you might not be able to, afford at that point of time. So is there any kind of such products you're willing to use it or want to work with?
So, my idea was to relocate all our working communications to the Slack and use it just for work communications. But our team just said, okay, so we have Telegram. Yes, we post some memes there and just talking about the work in one chat, but it's okay for us. And they said, okay. and now just only me and one more guy are using Slack in our company.
But once they get to use it, I think they will love the platform very much because Slack is used by everyone and even including us. It's very easy to use and it's very easy to communicate at the same time. Maybe they will just get used to that once they have that. Exactly. So one last question, like we have in mind is like. What is the next what do you want to really achieve in this 2020 if you're looking ahead for the next 6 months? What are the biggest milestones you want to, what are the biggest checkpoints you want to cross?
So for us, the biggest milestone and the biggest just aim for the next year is to become an international company.
Okay.
Because that is just another group of startups which become an international companies. So that's number one.
Okay, so that's a important priority right now.
Yeah, that is the most important because it is it make your fundraising process much easier. Yes. Because now you have an access for all of the funds, maybe not from the US, but from most of the countries. And it's another just point in your mind because you're now not only just a local startup, one of thousands. You are now an international startup, which is much greater.
Important. So thank you, Alexei. So that was like, so this is the final question I just want to ask, and everyone would be expecting something giveaway. So what is the giveaway? What is the biggest giveaway for this call right now? Like earlier we had a conversation that you have some marketing hacks for B2B startups. So what are those marketing hacks that worked and failed? And would you like to share the experience?
Yeah, so first one I already mentioned when we were talking about the sales process. So Gipper targeted ads, just Google ads, Facebook ads, whatever. So you just find the location of the office of the company which you want to make your client, which you want to acquire. And after it, you invest just, I don't know, all the money that you have for the marketing for this company
Okay.
to show the digital ads everywhere. Just when each worker from this company go to the Facebook, he need to see your banner. When he go, I don't know, to the Instagram, the same situation. Because when it works like that, the guys from the company started asking their colleagues, "Do you know this company? Did you heard about them?" And when just a part of the office are talking about your company, it is much easier to came inside to make a first intro and so on so forth. And the second hack is what we've done at first. We parse actually we parsed all the contacts of all marketing directors in Russia.
Okay.
We just use, we have two hunting services. Biggest that is Headhunter, and one more, I forgot the name, but it's not important. So you just go there, parse all the contacts of the marketing directors,
Okay.
and use their contacts in the Facebook, in the LinkedIn, in Instagram also. So, and also showing them in your advertisement. And just a small, let's say, additional hack, that it's not very interesting to use just the normal banners. So just giving some information about your company and so on. It's always much better to use some media publications about you and about cases that you've done. So it works much better than just information about the companies or banners. But if you don't have such cases, it's okay. So you can both use just normal banners and showing them to your customers.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So that was a giveaway, biggest giveaway. Like everyone would like to try. See, most of the people say that paid ad doesn't work. So some people say that it doesn't work because for them the target audience are very vague and it doesn't help them. But I think for business like targeting retailers or a particular business, I think this can be more effective, like targeting a particular location or a particular region. So that was a very interesting hack. I find it very amazing. So this is Mr. Alexey, the founder and CEO of LoyaltyLab, who has given us very wonderful experience about how they started it off and how was the Web Summit experience. And as well as they also, he gave us two wonderful marketing B2B startup to marketing hacks for B2B startups. So this is not just the end of podcasting. This is going to be a series of podcasting with Alexey. Once again, we'll be sitting after 6 months, the company will be in a different level. So at that point of time, you might have a very different story. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So at that point, we'll be getting back again to understand what did they work out and what was the strategies, what was the product roadmap they worked with, how did they priced their product, how did they segment their products. So this goes and goes and gone. So thank you so much, Alexey, for joining this podcast. It was really wonderful having a conversation with you. And please always make sure to visit Loyalty Labs website. I'll just drop the link in the description below, and you can always reach out to Alexey for anything in LinkedIn. Also, I'll just drop the links down in the description below. Thank you, Alexey. It was really wonderful. Just had a very great 30 minutes of your time discussing about your startup. So I wish you all the best in the coming days, in the coming months, in the coming year. And we'll keep in touch, and we'll just make sure we'll come up with the next episode soon again. Until then, thank you so much. And this is Varun, and we have Alexey. So do you have anything to say to our audience?
Yeah, just be strong. That is the number one rule when you are making a startup.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Varun, for the opportunity to be a part of your show.
So thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're always welcome to come back. So like I said, this is not just a one video recording. It's not going to stop. It's going to come back again. But please don't forget us and all, because once after 6 months, if you grow, you might think this podcasting is boring. Please don't think that, and please come back again. Okay. So thank you so much. So until next time, we'll meet you with another episode with some new startup products or new startup founders experience. Until then, bye bye.